Hello again. Today we are going to learn two different sounds that this letter makes. And we're going to practice reading some words which have this letter in. We're going to play a little cube game, a silly cube game. So you probably already know that this letter can make the k sound, but sometimes it makes a s sound. So I'm going to teach you a little song that can help you to know whether you should use a k sound or a s sound for that letter when you're reading words. So let's have a little look. There is the letter C. Sometimes it makes k and sometimes it makes s. So it usually makes a s sound if there is an E, I or a Y straight afterwards. So here we've got the letter C and it's got an E afterwards. So it will make a s sound. So we have s, e, l, cell. This one here, we've got the letter C again. It's got a letter I after it. So that will make a s sound as well. So we have s, it, e, city. And here we've got the letter C with a Y afterwards, so that will make a s sound as well. Now this is quite a long word, so we need to split it up. So we have, in the middle of a word, this often makes an I sound. Sig, sig, net, net, signet. A signet is a baby swan. So we're going to sing a little song to help us to remember that that letter makes s before E, I and Y. You should recognise the tune. It's the tune of London Bridge is Falling Down, so hopefully you can join in with the singing. C says S before E, I, Y, E, I, Y, E, I, Y. C says S before E, I, Y, C says S. So we're going to use that little song to help us while we play our game. So we're going to use two cubes today. On the red cube, we have got some nouns. So a noun is a person, thing, or a place. On the green cube, we have got some adjectives just before the nouns, and the adjectives will describe the noun on this cube. Now sometimes when we put them together they will make sense, and sometimes when we put the green part and the red part together they won't make sense at all. So we'll have a look at this one to start with, just as a little practice. So if we sound out this first bit, we've got this, clean, clean. Now over here we've got the letter C. Let's see if we can sing the first part of that song. C says S before E, I, Y. There's an I, so it's going to make a S sound. S, it, E, city. This clean city. Now, that could be true. So you are going to do a silent cheer in the air with your arms. So this clean city would make sense. That could be something that you could really have. Now, we're going to try and roll the dice again. If you think the two parts make sense, then you're going to do a silent cheer. If you think the two parts are a little bit silly and they don't make sense together, you're going to cross your arms and you're going to shake your head. So let me roll that one. Oh, same one again. Let's roll this one. Let's see what this says. I'll just straighten that card up a little bit. They sometimes go a little bit wonky. There we go. So you're going to have a go at sounding this out. So let's have a little look. So here, let's see if we can sing that song to help you work out what sound that's going to be. C says S before E, I, Y. And look at this one. C says S before E, I, Y. So you have a go at sounding this phrase out. Now you might need to try that one again. You might need to use a different sound for that letter. Okay, so ready to show me? Silent cheer if you think that makes sense. If you think we could really have one of those. And cross your arms and shake your head if you think we could not have that. Okay, let's read it together and see if you were right. So we've got that. Now, C says S before E, I, Y. So that's going to make a S sound. So let's sound it out. S, P, I, S, E, spissy. That doesn't make sense. What other sound can this letter make? Sometimes it's I. Let's try it with I. Sp, I, S, E, spicy. That, spicy. C says S before E, I. So it's going to make a S sound. S, it, E, city. That spicy city. Can you have a spicy city? I don't think so. So hopefully you shook your head for that one and crossed your arms. Let's do the rolling again. Let's see what we get this time. So let me straighten that card up so we can read it. Got that one. Let's roll the red one. There we go. So let's have a look, see if we can work out what sound that letter's going to make. C says S before E, I, Y. And here, C says S before E, I, Y. So you try reading this phrase then. So if you think we could really have one of those, you're going to give a silent cheer. If you think we couldn't have one of those, then you're going to cross your arms, shake your head. Let's see if you're right. Off we go. E, every. C says S before E, I, Y. We don't have E, I or Y, so it's not going to make S. That will just be the usual K. Clever. Every, clever. C says S before E, so that's going to make a S sound. Sp, A, S, space. Ship, ship. Spaceship. Every clever spaceship. That's a tricky one. Do you think you can have a clever spaceship? I think spaceships are probably quite clever, but not quite in the same way that you might be clever. Let's have another roll. We have got... Oh, where did that land? Let's go with that one. And this one. There we go. Let's see if that makes sense. So let's look at this letter and sing our song. C says S before E, I, Y. And over here... C says S before E, I, Y. And this one? C says S before E, I, Y. You have a try at reading them then. You might need to try that one again. Right, if you think we could really have one of those, give me a silent cheer. If you think we couldn't have one of those, cross your arms and shake your head. Okay, let's see if you're right. Let's read it. 1. Now, this is C says S before E, I. So that's going to be a S. Off we go. R, A, S, ras, I, ing. Rassing. That doesn't make sense. What other sound can this one be? That can be A, so let's try it with A. R, A, S, race, I, ing. Racing. 1, racing. Let's sing our little song. C says S before E. That's going to make S. I, S, ice. 1, racing, ice. C says S before E-I-Y. Haven't got E-I or Y, so it won't be S, that's just going to be K. Cube, cube. 1 racing ice cube. Do you think we could really have a racing ice cube? No, so hopefully you had your arms folded and your you were shaking your head. Let's roll the dice again. Let's do the green one. Oh, we've had that one before. Let's try another one. What does that say? Oh, there we go. Let's have that one. Let's roll the red one. There we go. Let's have a try at this one. C says S before E-I-Y. So you have a go at sounding this out. So if you think we could really have one of those, you're going to give me a silent cheer. If you think we couldn't really have one of those, fold your arms, shake your head. Let's see if you're right. Let's sound it out. 1. C says S before E-I-Y. We haven't got E-I or Y, so it can't be S. That will just be K. Crisp. Crisp. E. Crispy. 1. Crispy. Glass. Glass. Some people say glass and some people say glass. 1 crispy glass. Do you think we can really have a crispy glass? I'm not sure that we can. I think that's a no, that one. Let's do the last one. Let's roll the green dice. What have we got? Let's have that one. And we'll roll this one. There we go. Let's see what we've got. C says S before E-I-Y. C says S before E-I-Y. C says S before E-I-Y. So let's have a go at reading. So if you think we could really have one of those, give me a silent cheer. And if you think we couldn't really have one of those, cross your arms and shake your head. Let's see if you're right. Off we go. This. C says S before E-I-Y. We don't have E, I or Y, so it can't make S. It's just going to be K. Clean. Clean. This. Clean. C says S before E-I-Y. We don't have E, I or Y, so it can't make S. That's just going to be K. Up. Cup. This. Clean. Cup of. C says S before E-I-Y. No E, I or Y, so that can't be S. It's just going to be K. Off. Cough. E. Coffee. This. Clean cup of coffee. Can we really have a clean cup of coffee? Well, I would hope my coffee would be in a nice clean cup, otherwise that wouldn't really be very nice to drink. So well done, lots of practicing, working out what sound a letter C is going to be when you're reading words. So hopefully next time you see a word with the letter C and you don't know what that word says, you can use that song to help you work out which one it is. And if you found a little bit of that reading a little bit tricky today, then you could always play the video another time and have another practice.